And there we are. So yeah, welcome. Thank you for coming to this session of Midweek Mindfulness. I'm looking forward to this one. It's the first of three. I'm calling the Mountain Sky series, resonating on the level of the body being a mountain and the mind being a sky. I think it's a lovely image to start and build a foundational practice with. So the next 3 weeks, or the next three sessions over the next 6 weeks, will very much be focused on developing that foundation of support, which is being comfortable within our bodies, understanding what it's like to pause and noticing how the mind behaves and how we can better understand that process by letting go of any expectations. We'll then look at overcoming difficulties, the natural difficulties that we come across in our practice. Sometimes it can be, life events that are going on that are causing us mental and emotional stress. Other times it can be physical discomforts that bring about their own forms of stress. So learning how to navigate difficulties during a meditation practice and during life can be really beneficial. So that's why that's session 2. And then session 3 is about, it's going to go in a step deeper, where we're going to insight and perhaps what a lot of people refer to as awakening. And the main emphasis of this really is I wanted to take you through my journey with meditation. Why do I do it, and what benefits have I gained from the practice? As being that I do struggle with a particularly busy mind. I had a difficult sort of first and still do encounter with mindfulness because I had my expectations were all out of whack, and I think there's so many different types of meditation. There's so many ways to meditate. It's, we all arrive with different set of expectations about what it is. So this is really me kind of also setting out the stool for the reason I do it and what I hope to guide you through in the process as well. So there are all sorts of other techniques of meditation, and they're all great. But the essence, I think, of mindfulness is hinged on a few things, and we'll go over that today. So, as I said, today is going to be about developing the foundation for our practice. So the foundation, it's helpful to know how to sit. It's helpful to know how to focus our minds and set an intention. It's helpful to enter a practice and know how to transition from our normal working busy minds into more of a meditation mind, and also to come back into the real world after. And it's also important to notice or point out some of the landmarks or the signposts on the way, some of the common obstacles that we come across that can make the practice of meditation seem a lot harder than it actually is. So, of course, one thing that was quite revolutionary for me, or revelationary, was the fact that my mind is always thinking. My mind is always producing thoughts in the way that my heart beats blood, or that my digestive system processes food. So if I eat a cake, I'm aware that the food's going to go down my gullet. It's going to get processed in the stomach, mixed with chemicals, and then pass through the intestines, and the things are going to get absorbed, and then it will leave my body eventually. And that process is a little bit more akin to what the mind is doing as well. What is the mind doing during a meditation practice, where essentially, well, we've stopped and we've paused, and hopefully we've given ourselves permission to let go of thinking, for example. But nevertheless, we will find that the mind is constantly in the background digesting what is happening, digesting the day that we've had, digesting the experience that we're having in the moment. And when I say thoughts, this can be some sort of words that appear in our head, kind of some sort of story. It might sound like our own voice. It might be images. It might be a movie screen type thing. It's this internally generated world that we have is our thoughts, is our mind. So, yeah, so to sit here and say we'll stop thinking for 30 minutes, we're already setting ourselves up for failure, because we can't, we can't choose to stop thinking. The quote I like about this is trying to stop thoughts with thinking is akin to wiping the ripples off the surface of a pond. So if I sit here going, I must stop thinking, I must not be thinking, oh, why am I thinking? It's just more thoughts. It's more thoughts piled on top of thoughts. So the first thing we get to become aware of is that thinking happens all by itself. In mindfulness, they say thoughts arise by themselves, they display themselves, and then they leave themselves. So this is where the mountain sky analogy comes in, or the metaphor. The sky, the mind is clear like the sky, and thoughts appear like clouds in the sky. So the practice really is to observe the mind, to notice when we're thinking, and to keep it at that, just to observe, okay, this is a thought coming up. This is a thought about my day. This is a thought about tomorrow. This is a thought about what someone said to me earlier. The mind will get attached and embroiled in all kinds of thinking throughout the practice. And our only job is to recognize, okay, well, noticed that I've got lost in thinking, and then I'm going to bring my mind back to the present moment, aware of the body, aware of the breath, and perhaps some other present moment object like sound. So really that's the number one signpost for today is observe thoughts, and as soon as you notice that you've become attached to thoughts or thinking, simply to return back to the present moment. And in actual fact, the sort of slight paradox with that, or contradiction, is whenever you've noticed that you're thinking, you're already present. Yeah, so it's the awareness of, oh, I'm thinking and I was meant to be meditating, is actually happening in the present moment. Yeah, it's when we're unconsciously attached to a thought and the whole story that goes with that, the whole imagination, whatever's going on as we're sort of imagining the scenario or running through the shopping list or whatever it is, we don't know we're doing it. We're just one-to-one experience. That is our experience. Whereas when you've become aware that you're thinking, then you're no longer attached to the thought in the same way. You've taken a bit of a sidestep. Oh, I'm aware that I'm thinking. So that's the main thrust of today. And also to touch on the fact that meditation is a tool. So it's a tool to develop a calm, focused mind. It's a tool to develop strategies to overcome difficulties, and it's a tool to ultimately see reality as it is, which is stage 3. So to emphasize the focus for today is the calm, focused mind. We're not trying to clear our mind of thoughts. Our aim is to reduce interrupting our experience, to say, I shouldn't have been thinking that, to beating ourselves up for having been lost in thoughts, or almost consciously following thoughts because they're very tempting, like, oh, I can solve that problem while I'm here. Certain things pop up in meditation that are really tempting to follow and engage in. But it's not necessarily what we're here for. Now, the calm, focused mind that we're attaining during a meditation doesn't require us to not be thinking. It requires us to allow the mind to produce thoughts without getting attached to them. There's a subtle difference. If I say, I'm going to calm myself and get a focused mind, and all I'm having is thoughts, then I'm going to be really frustrated. If I say I'm going to have a calm and focused mind, and I'm noticing in my practice that my mind is very busy, then it's much more objective. We're in a better relationship with our experience if we're aware of it and we're not fighting it. So I think that's it. I want to just say the part of the practice, which is really important for me, is how we enter the practice. So we enter a meditation with a set intention in mind, understanding why we're practicing. And we let go of any expectations and we transition into the meditation practice with some breath focus. This is a really important part for me. It's deliberate attention, like a torchlight. We've paid deliberate attention to the body breathing. And for some people, the breath doesn't work. It's okay to use sounds. It's okay to use sensations. And it's okay to use mental imagery. But we understand that this is a tool and a transition into the practice. It isn't necessarily the meditation itself. So during the transition, we're focusing on the breath. We're focusing on the sensations of the breath as they change, however they appear. And we usually notice that the mind is quite busy during this period. So the idea isn't to shut down thoughts. It's simply to stay more focused on the breath. As soon as we recognize that we've wandered into thinking, we return our attention to the breath. And there's physiological reasons that the breath can help us to calm down. It's to do with the nervous system, balancing the nervous system. So I've talked about the window of tolerance before, and noticing when we're becoming heightened emotionally. Breath focus can help us to restore some peace and relaxation into the nervous system. We breathe like we're calm and the body listens. Okay, so the key word for today is observe, witness, observe the mind, because it won't do what we ask it to most of the time. So simply here to observe how that goes for us. We'll start the practice. We'll do about 20 minutes of meditation, and then there'll be a little bit of time at the end to share how that experience was for you. Does anyone have any questions? Thank you. Yes, this is where kindness comes into our practice. It's understanding that, the mind is going to do what the mind does. It's almost like we're reducing any sense of responsibility for it. We're treating it like, with curiosity, what's going to happen? What will happen over the next 20 minutes when I sit quietly focus on my breath. What's going to happen? Let's see what happens. Oh, the mind. The mind is very busy with me today. Okay, it's thinking about that thing, and it keeps going back to that same situation. Maybe there's something in that. Maybe there's some insight in that. What fears am I holding? And we'll go into that in another session, using today really as an opportunity to learn the foundational practice of settling the mind and being with our experience as it unfolds. Thank you for that. Okay, assume nobody else has any questions. I'll begin the practice. So I love the sound of the bell to begin the practice. We notice that the sound reaches us all equally. The sound meets us where we are. It's arising in the same space, in the present moment. So the invitation is to consider your intentions and motivations for being here. What is it that you hope to achieve from this meditation? The guidance today will be focused around calm and focus. Calm and focus. So learning to be okay with what happens in the mind. Learning to be okay with our experience as it unfolds. Noticing that when we drop the resistance and desire for things to be different, there's a natural shift towards calmness and focus. So whatever our intentions or motivations for practicing today, we let them go. We fire them like an archer fires an arrow. And we realize as we enter the practice that each meditation for each individual will take its very own course. The body is an important part of the meditation practice. It's where we rest. So finding a position that requires the least amount of effort to sustain. It's usually seated relatively upright and with a sense of the back of the head lifting slightly. Not so straight that it causes us to shake or feel uncomfortable, but not so relaxed that we drift off. So given our practice a certain respect by how we govern our bodies in this. Alert but at ease. And we might have an overall sense of the weight of the body on the ground. Noticing the contact of our seat, maybe our feet on the floor. And we use this initial transition into the meditation to focus on the breath, bringing attention like a torchlight onto the part of our body where we feel breathing the most. You may notice the passing of air in and out of the nostrils, the throat, the chest, the belly. And we invite the breath to deepen slightly, expanding on the inhale and relaxing on the exhale. And we aim to develop a balanced breath so that the inhale and the exhale are a similar length. Aware of the sensations of the breath and aware of the balance of the breath. It may be helpful to count silently to 3 or 4 on the inhale and match that on the exhale. It may be helpful to visualize the waves of the ocean lapping up the beach on the inhale and the waves drawing back into the sea on the exhale. And it's okay to breathe a bit deeper and a bit stronger if we feel that the mind is particularly turbulent today. Make the breath a bit more obvious. Give it a chance to hold our attention. And we may notice already that the mind is wandering into thoughts, into thinking, into judgment. This is okay. This is part of the scenery. Our only job is to notice that we've started to think, and we do our best just to let go of attachment to that thought. And return to the breathing and the counting. And when we notice that the mind has picked up thinking, we gently put it down again. And with kindness and patience and understanding for ourselves, we return to the breath. And we may find ourselves repeating that every breath, every second. We may find ourselves lost in thinking for minutes at a time. And for the purposes of this practice, it doesn't matter whether we've been gone for a second or a minute. The important thing is that we're back into this moment as we are right now. Dropping any expectations, dropping any judgment or blame. Giving ourselves permission to let go of the past and the future, and to be held by the present moment. As we become more aware of the body, the whole body as we breathe out, noticing there's a natural relaxation response in the body. And the body sinks a little bit deeper with every exhale. The body connected to the ground like a mountain. At one with the ground. The mountain solid, strong, and free. So picturing our body like a mountain, connected to the ground, resting silently, in the present. And we notice that the mind is clear like the sky surrounding the mountain. The still and silent mind as the background to the clouds or the thoughts that arise in the mind. A body like a mountain, strong, stable, free. The mind open, spacious and clear like the sky. And thoughts arising like clouds in the sky. Our only job is to notice, oh, there's another cloud. So the body breathing, and the body resting. The mind clear, and aware of thoughts as they arise like clouds in the sky. So we stay connected to the breath. And we return to the breath each time that we lose ourselves in thinking. Each and every time we notice we've become attached to thoughts, we then place our attention back on the breath, back on the breathing body, breathing into the body like a mountain connected to the ground. Solid and free. The mind clear in its nature, like the sky, and aware of the clouds and the thoughts that fill the sky. It may be helpful to observe the general weather today. Is it a cloudy, stormy day? Is it a calm, still day? There's no wrong answer. Actually allowing our mind to think, allowing the mind to produce thoughts, because we're no longer interested in suppressing them. The energy of allowing, of surrender, of letting ourselves be in this moment is a more conducive atmosphere towards inner peace. And fighting, denying, resisting, or suppressing the activity that happens in the mind. And it's a skill. Each time we notice that we've become lost in thinking is another opportunity to practice kindness to ourselves, to not add a layer of berating ourselves on top of that. Simply to label thinking is happening. The mind is thinking in the same way the sky produces clouds, in the same way that the body pumps blood or digests food. Maybe we're in an environment where there's noise distractions. We may notice the mind picks up the noise and holds on to it and starts to resist or deny the moment. This sound shouldn't be happening, or blaming the sound for distracting us, or something of that nature. Recognizing that it's not the sound itself that's the problem, it's the mind saying that that sound shouldn't be there. So, returning to the body like a mountain, the mind clear like the sky, noticing thoughts like clouds passing through the sky. Returning to the breath each and every moment. And as we come toward the end of this meditation practice, we're invited to reflect, having a moment to recognize what that was like. How did it go? Being completely open to the answer. And also recognizing that the meditation practice, the time we spend here, is of benefits to ourselves and our well-being, but it's also part of the well-being of those around us. It's a very necessary practice for us to learn to manage our individual experiences so we're better able to support others. And that comes through genuine, authentic recognition of where we are at now, where we are at. So, as we hear the sound of the bell, we begin to gently move the body in a way that feels nourishing, maybe fingers and toes. Whenever we feel ready to do so, opening the eyes. So reminding ourselves of our connection with each other through the screens, and our connection with our own space that we're in.